Greed versus ambition. The difference that can change your life. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, if I just had a little more, then I'd finally be happy. A little more money, a little bigger house, a little newer car, a little more respect, a few more followers. But then you finally get it. And somehow it still isn't enough. So where does ambition end? And where does greed begin? This is the story of David. David wasn't rich, but he wasn't poor either. He had a loving wife, 2 healthy children, a small house, food on the table every night, and a steady job. If someone had asked him, "Are you happy?" he would have smiled and replied, "I just need a little more." That didn't sound unreasonable. After all, everyone wants a better life. So David worked harder. He stayed late at work. He took extra courses. He accepted every opportunity that came his way. Eventually, his hard work paid off. He earned a raise. His family celebrated. For the first time in years, he felt like he was getting somewhere. But the feeling didn't last. Soon, the small house felt too cramped, so they moved into a bigger one. His old car suddenly didn't seem good enough, so he bought a newer one. Then one day, he noticed his neighbor driving an even nicer car. Suddenly, his own car no longer felt special. Nothing about his life had changed. Only his comparison had. Months turned into years. David kept chasing the next goal. Every time he reached one, another appeared. The bigger house became normal. The newer car became old. The latest phone was replaced by an even newer one. Without realizing it, he was always looking ahead and rarely looking at what he already had. Work became his priority. His children would ask, "Dad, can we play outside? I'm busy." His wife would suggest eating dinner together, maybe tomorrow. His parents invited him over on weekends. "I've got too much work." He wasn't lazy. He wasn't a bad husband. He wasn't a bad father. He honestly believed he was doing it all for them. He just didn't realize what it was costing him. One Saturday afternoon, his youngest daughter was helping her mother clean out a closet. She found an old family photo tucked inside a dusty album. It showed the 4 of them sitting on the floor of their tiny first apartment. A pizza box was open between them. The furniture barely matched. The room was small, but everyone was laughing. She carried the photo over to David. "Dad." He looked up. She smiled and asked, "Why don't we laugh like that anymore?" David stared at the picture. He remembered that day perfectly. They had almost nothing, yet somehow they had felt like they had everything. He couldn't answer. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, David quietly walked through his beautiful home. Everything he had once dreamed of owning was there. The large television, the expensive furniture, the modern kitchen, the latest phone, the bigger house. Years ago, he believed these things would finally make him feel complete. Yet standing there in the silence, one question kept repeating in his mind. If I finally have everything I wanted, why do I still feel like something is missing? He had no answer. A few days later, David decided to visit his old friend, Michael. Michael still lived in the same modest house. The furniture was old. The car had seen better days. Nothing looked expensive. But as soon as David walked through the front door, he heard laughter. Michael's children were playing a board game on the living room floor. His wife was laughing so hard she could barely speak. The house wasn't filled with luxury. It was filled with life. After dinner, David finally asked the question that had been bothering him. "Don't you ever wish you had more?" Michael smiled. "Of course I do. I'd love a bigger house someday. I'd like to travel more. I still have dreams." He looked toward his family, still laughing in the next room. Then he smiled. "But I refuse to miss today while chasing tomorrow." David sat quietly. Michael continued, "There's nothing wrong with wanting a better life. The danger begins when a better life makes you forget the life you already have." David nodded slowly. Then Michael said something David would never forget. "Ambition tells me to improve my life. Greed tells me my life will never be enough." The room fell silent. For the first time in years, David realized he hadn't been chasing happiness. He had been chasing the feeling that he was almost happy. And almost is a finish line that keeps moving. From that day forward, David didn't stop being ambitious. He still worked hard. He still saved money. He still wanted to grow. But he also came home in time for dinner. He played catch with his children. He visited his parents more often. He stopped measuring his life against everyone else's. Slowly, something changed. His bank account didn't suddenly become bigger. His house didn't become more luxurious, but his heart became lighter. He laughed more. His family laughed more. And, for the first time in a long time, he felt rich. There is nothing wrong with wanting a better life. Without ambition, people would never learn, build, create, or improve. Ambition builds homes. It creates businesses. It discovers cures. It inspires dreams. But greed quietly changes one simple idea. Ambition says, I have enough to be grateful for, and I want to build something better. Greed says, I have plenty, but I'll never be happy because someone else has more. One helps you grow. The other makes enough disappear forever. Because greed has no finish line. No matter how much you collect, it always whispers, just one more. Maybe true success isn't measured by how much you own. Maybe it's measured by whether you can enjoy what you already have while still working toward your dreams. Because ambition helps you build a better future. But gratitude helps you enjoy the present. And the happiest people are the ones who learn to hold on to both. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. What do you think is the biggest difference between ambition and greed?